What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Retro Hoop Collectibles. We're going to take a little bit of a look today at a little bit of data in a different sense. There's a lot of conversation going on recently about SGC and what's going on with them. SGC's getting a lot of shine these days. Sports Card Investors recently did a video with them where they kind of opened the doors and talked a little bit about what they do and how they grade and so on and so forth. But what I'm mostly interested in is how they are stacking up, because the number one thing that everybody talks about is resale value, right? We can't seem to look past this ugly little gremlin that is resale value, which I kind of understand. I mean, I get it, you know. Some of you guys are in this strictly for the flip. Not all of us are here for, for the hobby. Some of you are, some of you are not, and that's fine. It's whatever brings you in the door. I'm not knocking you. So I thought I'd do a little bit of kind of digging around with some of the cards that I currently own. And do a little bit of compare and contrast, as we always like to do. So what I'm going to take you through is a website called cardhedger.com. If I can get my stuff up here for a second. Sorry, I'm all over the place here. All right, there we go. Let's make this a little bit smaller so we're not so in the way. There we go. All right, this is called cardhedge.com, cardhedger.com. They have, it's if you're familiar with, they do price analysis and stuff like that. If you're familiar with Sports Card Investors website, their Market Movers tool, I like to consider this as sort of a more stripped down version of that tool. And I mean that in a positive way. That Market Movers tool can be a little bit intimidating and daunting if you're not used to looking at graphs, and if you're not used to doing analytics and looking at numbers and comparing values and looking at trends and things like that. So one of the things that I use this for, and you can, I'll have a link down in the description where if you sign up, it supports the channel. But what I wanted to follow was a couple of things on here. So I'll jump in my dashboard. I'll go to card prices. And what I'm looking for, Michael Jordan, not 86 Fleer. I wish I had some of those. 1990 Fleer. So they got the Fleer All-Star basketball. We'll take a look at that one. And we'll also take a look at Michael Jordan 90 Fleer. And we'll look at just the base. So I have a handful of these. So what we're talking about here is basically PSA prices versus SGC prices. And we all know that PSA prices and SGC prices, there's a huge gap, humongous gap in prices. And that tends to be a lot of what shies people away from SGC. Regardless of the fact that PSA is grossly behind on shipping and grading and receiving and overall customer service, and they're just lacking in so many different departments in terms of grading consistency, grading accuracy. There's just, I mean, I can go on and on. But needless to say, we're not going to talk about any of that today. We're going to talk strictly about pricing, and this is kind of where this tool really comes in handy. So what I like about this tool that is not really prevalent in Market Movers is you'll notice here there's a current price by grade, and it takes the last sale of that particular card. In this case, we're looking at the 1990 Fleer Michael Jordan, and gives you the last price in a specific grade. So you'll notice an SGC 10 in this card, 1990 Fleer Michael Jordan. Beautiful card, by the way. One of my favorite cards of that set of the 90s in terms of Jordans to collect and to have and to hold till death do you part. Just an awesome card. Good colors, good clean colors. Jordan with the action shot, tongue out, mashing on somebody. It just screams nostalgia. So anyway, so if we're looking at just PSA 10s, obviously we can see the kind of the prices are all over the place, kind of hovering around the 500 mark. As we all know, prices have just been terrible the last, we can actually look at a year. Look at that. Down in the 100 range, and then what is this? Right around COVID. Yep. Last Dance peaked at 1,000, and then kind of all the way back down. We're still around $580. So we'll just look at the last 30 days, just kind of see what's been selling on a PSA 10. But let's be real. If you guys have been watching, like I've been watching, a lot of YouTubers online that have been sending in vintage cards, they have not been very favorable in terms of grading. So, long gone are the days of getting a PSA 10 in anything that is not a modern card. It's going to be very hard. It's going to be very, very difficult to do. So if I'm being realistic, chances are, even if I pull something pack fresh, and even if they go as far as to grade it, because there's a lot of this minimum size requirement thing, and there's a lot of truth, and there's a lot going on with that we'll talk about on a different video. But the fact of the matter is chances are you're probably going to get a 9. I think what PSA is trying to do is they're trying to elevate a PSA 10 to the level of a BGS black label or a gold label. And, I think that's kind of what they're doing. So if we look at the prices on a PSA 10, a PSA 9, they're hovering right around $60, $65. This one was $70. It's just some peaks and valleys here, not very consistent. Average price though on a PSA 10, on a PSA 9, last price was $60. If I don't know if they have here a way to see kind of the average whenever you do this, but anyway, this is a PSA 9. So we can see over the last 30 days they've kind of been hovering around. They're kind of dipping a little bit. PSA 9 is going for $60, $100, $70, $60. So, man, if I had to look at the last 30 days on this, it's not a pretty sight. Even a 9, just really can't break. I mean, it's broken past the $100 mark a couple of times, but really still hovering around that, $70, $80 mark, $70, $80. I would probably put the average somewhere around $80, $85. And if we look at an SGC 9.5, not very many sales on that one. But last sale was $69. There was another sale on April 6th, which was my birthday, for $143, $69. And that's with not a lot of sales history. So let's take a look at an SGC 10. SGC 10s are commanding $350, $170, $300, kind of right around that range. So they're higher than a PSA 9, lower than a PSA 10, obviously. So they're really not, there's not really much difference between a PSA 9 and a SGC 9.5. It looks like. Well, we only have one. Not really a whole lot to go off of in terms of data there. I have a feeling that that's going to change, though. There's a lot of things going on with SGC right now. One of the biggest YouTubers, a YouTuber that I followed from the beginning when I first got back into this, I should say, PSA collector, who has now changed his name to Graded Card Investor, I think is what he changed his name to. The fact that this man hung his hat entirely on PSA as an organization and is now distancing himself from that. And just today, let's see if we can get on on the old Instagram, just today posted today a picture of a Deion Sanders rookie card in a perfect 10 pristine light, which this new upgraded PSA 10 is dope. Pristine is dope. And he said, I'd buy it. It's like this guy is completely done a 180. And if you look at his content, he has zero content at all about SGC at all. He's been 100% PSA. I mean, his name was PSA Collector for a very long time. But now he's kind of distanced himself from that, and now it's now all about even his semi-rigids that he's promoting. Used to be PSA Collector semi-rigid grading candidate holders. Now they're graded card investor semi-rigid grading card holders. I think it's crazy that he's like, that's nuts. I mean, props to him, props to him for deciding that, hey man, I'm just not sticking with this company blindly. They're not doing very well right now in terms of service and in terms of the service that they're providing. So I'm out. I don't care if I stake my entire brand on this company. I'm out. And that takes balls, man. So mad props to him. But anyway, back to kind of what we're looking at here. SGC. So let's take a look at the All-Star one. PSA 10 and the All-Star is going for 860, 810, 6, 8, 6. I'd probably put it around 750, 800, the average, roughly, over the last 30 days. Man, it dipped nasty over the last maybe month or two. So that's not good. But again, if we're looking at an SGC 10 or even an SGC 9.5 at $123, where a PSA 9... where a PSA 9 is right around the same price. I think if we're trying to compare a PSA 9, a PSA 10 to an SGC 10, obviously there's a big disparity, obviously. But once again, let's be real. How often are you going to get a PSA 10 if you were to submit a 1990 Fleer Michael Jordan All-Star right now? How likely are you to get a 10? Very, very, very unlikely. Very unlikely. Ask my man. What was this? The video that we just did, trading cards and more. Ask him how that went. Insane. So let's go to something a little more modern. Zion Williamson, 2019 Panini Hoops. I own a handful of these, and I don't have any. I believe I have maybe one PSA 10. The other two that I have are PSA 9s. But once again, look at a PSA 9. PSA 9 is hovering around $50, $50, $50, $50 all day long is what they're hovering around. And if you look at a SGC 9, SGC 9.5, because here's the other thing too. I think we've talked about this before. I think there's a spectrum here, right, that is not being picked up because of the fact that you can only get either a PSA 9 or a PSA 10. And I think that PSA is leaving a lot on the table with not adding half grades. And hopefully that's something that we see change. And I think it will, because I just think there's too much there between those two. If you watched the other video, part 2 of Sports Card Investors deep dive into SGC, they talked a little bit about grading kind of philosophy. And, I think SGC has it right, where they're saying, hey, we're half grades, because, there's some times where it's better than a 9, but it's not quite a 10. And we should be able to demonstrate that in the grade. And I think PSA is really leaving a lot to be desired from their grading process by not allowing that disparity between the two. They're just simply saying, hey, you either get a 9 or a 10. You're either first or you're last, Ricky Bobby, right? And that's just, to me, that's not fair to the card. It's not fair to their customers. It's not fair to somebody who is submitting. Because if you don't deserve a 9, you shouldn't get a 9. And if you don't deserve a 10, you shouldn't get a 10. And there should be some middle ground there. I really feel, especially when you're talking about cards, that are that high dollar. So anyway, PSA 9 selling for around $50 on average. And then, the SGC 9 selling for $32, SGC 9.5 selling for $61. 61, 50, around 50, hovering around that 50, 60 mark. Let's see, SGC 9. I don't think there's going to be very many on that one. Yeah, 40, 20, 30, about $30 roughly. So again, if we're talking about resale value, we're talking about a PSA 10 in comparison to an SGC 10. Well, obviously we're going to have some differences there. SGC 10s, not very many of them are selling. PSA 10s, obviously we got a bunch, and it's all over the place, right? That is the creme de la creme when it comes to having and wanting the best card possible. But I just think comparing the two are I can compare it to a BGS 10 Black Label here at $2,100, the last one that sold for $2,100, and just so I can say, hey, PSA 10s are crap, BGS 10s is what you want. Well, yeah, So I really don't know what is there some difference? Yes, absolutely, but it's not anything really drastic whenever you start looking at what is really being graded. Which is most likely PSA 9s, BGS 9.5s, and SGC 9.5s. Once again, another one that I have, Kobe rookies. Let me see. Oh, here they are right here. Oh, was that on there the whole time? No way. It probably was. My bad, guys. Got a couple of those going out. Going out to SGC to get graded. Pretty excited to get that back. Again, if you're looking at a PSA 10, yeah, $1,000, $1,400. A PSA 9, which is probably what you're gonna get, $276. Right? Because they're not gonna give you a 1,400. They're not gonna give you a 10 if it has some imperfections on it. They're gonna give you a 9. $276 is what you're going to get compared to an SGC 9.5, which is at $200, and SGC 9 is $130. So yeah, there's some difference there. But we're talking about, I've seen some of you guys in the comments talk about how they're going for a third of the price. No, they're not. An SGC 10, yes, maybe. But once again, what are you going to get when you send in a card right now? You're going to get a 9. Chances are that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a 9. SGC 10s, $249. It really would be unfair for me to compare SGC 10s to PSA 9s. That wouldn't be right. Because honestly, from a grading standpoint, I feel that if you get an SGC 10 pristine, if you cracked and resub, you could probably get a PSA 10. 7 times out of 10. If you did that 10 times, 7 times out of 10, I think you'd get a PSA 10. Maybe even a SGC 9.5. You could probably crack and resub and get a 10. I'd say that one probably be more like 4 times out of 10. You'd get a PSA 10. Here's another thing that I like about this website is that they are also adding CSG. I don't know if they have plans to add HGA as well, but I like this. This is simple to see. In Market Movers, it's a little more clumsy. I have to go in there and I got to change it every time if I want to see something different. Now I can add 3 or 4 things to the chart, but I can see them all here. What do I need to add them to the chart for? And I like this idea of the last price business, which is kind of cool. PSA 7s, $44. Look at PSA 8s are selling for, who the hell bought this one for $340? That's a shield bid. And we'll look at one more, which is my Luka Doncic. You guys know I have a handful of these as well. I have them in a PSA 10. Oof, man, has the market really softened that bad on these? Yeah, it has. Jeez Louise. They're at a discount right now. They are at a discount. Look at this BGS 10. Goodness. 1750. One sold for 250 and then 1750, 1750. 114, 11. Man. But once again, SGC 10s selling for about $200. Last one sold for $200. They're hovering right around $200. As opposed to $291. But once again, if you submit one, chances are what you're probably getting is a PSA 9 for $155. And a SGC 9.5 is $129. So not that much different. I think a lot of you guys are basing your arguments, those of you that are arguing about PSA is SGC is trash because of resale value, you guys really aren't looking at the entire picture. I think if you're looking strictly at a PSA 10 versus an SGC 10, then you're right. There's a disparity there. But it's not a fourth of the value. It's more like 3/4 of the value from what I can see here and from what I've seen so far. And well, maybe not this one. But this is, but then again, there's a huge run on Kobe's right now because he's about to get inducted, or was inducted, is gonna get inducted. Rest in peace to the Mamba, and the Mambacita. PSA 10 $114, SGC 10 $58, so about half the price on the Zion. My point is, folks, is that if we're going to look at this and we're really talking about this and we're really paying attention to what's going on in the market, there's a lot of little things that are happening that we really need to pay attention to. Number one, sports card investors, for as cheesy as people think the guy Jeff is, and for as much as somebody in the comments called him a snake oil salesman, it's not too far off, but he's a little cheesy, and he does come in from an investor standpoint. But I've watched a couple other videos on other people's channels, and just discussions that the guy is a sports fan. Make no mistake about it. He's a Florida Gator through and through. So he's a big sports fan. Is he as entrenched in the hobby as you would like for him to be in terms of maybe not just riding the wave from an investment standpoint? I don't think he is. I think he's very heavily invested in it because of the financial gains that can come from it. But that's not to say that he's wrong, and that's not to say that what he's doing and what he's saying and what he's building is incorrect. Because he put together one hell of a tool. But once again, if you're not a full-blown analyst like your boy is, a tool like this, once again, cardhedger.com. Let's throw this back up here again. Cardhedger.com is, hold up, Watts. My internet's been doing that where it's just kind of been kicking in and kicking out. Anyway, cardhedger.com, and you can check out all the prices, just to all the latest and greatest stuff that's out there. It's like I said, it's kind of intuitive. It's a lot more intuitive, and they're adding cards every day. I think they're right around 8,000, 9,000 cards that they've added just in the last couple of months. And they're making strides to add a whole lot more. As far as the cost, I know they have it's a subscription based thing. So the pricing, $19 a month. That's actually not bad. I pay $40 a month for Sports Card Investor's Market Movers tool, and I think Sports Card Investor also but that's like the full blown access. There's a lot of stuff, but this what you need, and it's if you do it annually, dang, that's not bad. If you do it annually, you actually do pretty good. 190 divided by 12. Yeah, you come out to like $15 a month, something like that. That's not bad. Anyway, so I just it's a cool service. I have an affiliate link with them down below, where I got some access to this to be able to go through and run it through its paces, and I like it. I think it's a much, like I said, if you're not an analyst, full blown analyst, it's a lot easier to drill through and look at, and look up your cards. So if you're interested, and if you want something where you can kind of track your portfolio, that's another thing. I haven't added anything yet, which I probably should. Let me see if it'll let me add, because I have let's take a look at this one. SGC 9.5 added to the portfolio. Price paid, let's call it $35 and save it. All right, and let's see what my collection looks like. There it is. Okay, shows up in my collection. Cool. Oh, hold on. They have this compare thing here. Oh, so I can choose 2 cards. Put that in number 1 and put that in number 2. Cool. So I can compare 2 cards side by side. That's pretty dope. If I want to compare this in an SGC. Oh, SGC 10 gold. There is none. Okay. How about an SGC 10? What's that look like? No? Okay. None of those either, huh? Oh, wow. Anyway, they got a 7-day trial, 7-day free trial. Check them out. Cardhedger.com is the name of the website. That's going to do it, folks. I think I've gone on a little further than I would have liked to. But if you've been enjoying the content and you've been wondering how you can kind of help out and support the channel, like I said, I have an affiliate link down in the description where you can click. And if you sign up, then I get a little cut. And it helps me out. It helps me to continue to make submissions and do content for you guys, and helps me out. So I'll leave you guys with that. I appreciate you guys watching so much. If you like this kind of content, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I'm terrible about asking about that stuff at the beginning of the video. Most of you are probably logged off by now. But as always, I love y'all. Peace.